All right, finally. Hello and good morning, good afternoon. I apologize about the delay. I'm not quite sure what happened, but somehow I canceled this event. And if I wasn't a person who was serious about consistency and showing up, I would have just taken that and been like, well, I guess that's just what it is. But then actually it seems like it was working. So I'm very confused about what's happening right now. Um, hopefully this is working. Anyway, let me know. Give me a holler. Give me a hello that you see me. Let me know how your October is going so far. This is the first day. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about sleep. And I'm excited to talk about sleep and its connection to your wealth, your well being, and excited to talk about how the best billionaires' sleep routines actually consist of getting as much sleep as possible. So I'll kick it off with telling you something that you could have never told me this man would say. But Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, actually said, sleep is my, what did he say? 8 hours of sleep is my commitment to my investors, my responsibility to my investors. That's what he said. 8 hours of sleep is my responsibility to my investors. I want you to think about that. And I want you to let me know what you think. Do you also agree that sleep is a responsibility? Or do you think maybe that's just a little bit overplayed and isn't realistic? I'd love to know your thoughts on it. I personally also agree sleep is a responsibility. I took some notes and I have a couple of videos that I want to show for you. And thank you so much for being here. Please help me share with your network. I got all dressed up just for you. But I did have problems, some hiccups this morning trying to get the live out there. So again, if you could just share, and that would really mean a lot to me. Thank you for being here. Good morning, Wendy. Good morning, David. Good morning, Miriam. Hello to everyone. So yeah, okay, so what are the notes that I wrote down? Well, and if you don't know Matthew Walker, look him up. He's a sleep scientist. He's an amazing individual, incredible public speaker, and he's been studying this since, well, before I was around. And he's got some incredible research that talks about how the sleep quality impacts just basically everything: your productivity, your capacity for productivity, your career success, and well-being. Well, that's what I gain out of the things that he said. But aside from him, there's also Andrew Huberman, who is a neurophysicist, and I love listening to him as well. Also talk about sleep. Interestingly enough, there's growth hormones that are produced in your sleep, and it's not just limited to children, but also to adults. So that's interesting. So where do I start? I mean, lack of sleep means the new incoming information or emails that if you were to look at your brain as like a source of housing information and you get it, you have a lack of sleep and it bounces. So you don't even receive the information, which means you can't store new memories, which is really important if you're thinking about it as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. When you make deals, when you meet people, you want to remember the important information, which is kind of impossible to do if your brain is so stacked up that you can't get that new information. It's harder to store memories. Also, there's a toxic protein in the brain that builds up, beta amyloid, and that's responsible or associated with Alzheimer's. And so essentially, Dr. Matthew Walker explains that your brain functions like a sewage system at night. And so that kicks in, it washes it away. Your reproductive system, and I'm sorry I'm going so fast, we've lost a lot of time, but the reproductive system is also highly affected. Just basically any area of your life you could think of, like your cardiovascular system is affected because sleep actually functions as a natural blood pressure medication. So when you go to sleep and you get to that deep phase of sleep, it resets your blood pressure, it reboots your cardiovascular system, and your risk drops. It reduces for heart attack. 16 hours plus of of lack of sleep is deterioration to the body. 20 plus hours of no sleep is the equivalent of being drunk behind the wheel. You could have an accident and just, well, in general. And we all know what it's like to be sleep deprived. If you know what it's like to be sleep deprived, type in me. Me. I'll type in myself, me, because I know what it's like to be sleep deprived, not to the point where it's 16 plus hours and 20 plus hours, unless I was really crazy and dumb. We've all done these things when we were younger, and we stayed up all night and we saw the sunrise and we partied and all of that. There's no reason to deprive yourself of sleep unless you have, babies and people that you care for and it's outside of your control. But if it's simply a matter of, I have so much to do, Andrea, you don't understand, I would say, if Jeff Bezos can say, um, it's my responsibility to get 8 hours of sleep, this tells me that all of us who have 24 hours in a day can find a way to get more sleep. And so I would submit to you that if you just feel like it's not possible, I would say then you need to make sure the sleep that you do get is optimal. And so one of the things I'm going to share with you, I have a few videos, like I said, and also one more thing. One night of 4 to 5 hours of sleep is a 70% reduction in critical anti-cancer fighting natural killer cells. And we're talking bowel cancer, prostate cancer, breast cancer. This should be so important. If by now you haven't gotten the link between elite wealth and sleep, I don't know what else I can tell you. Your brain is literally at risk of being compromised. Your heart is at risk of being compromised. Your the WHO classifies nighttime shift as probable carcinogenic. I mean, this is not a game we're talking about. This is like beyond the little bouts where you push yourself to go to get something done. We're talking about chronic sleep deprivation and how some of us are just praising the lack of sleep. And I think we should take a completely different approach. Good morning, Katie. Me, David, I understand. Sleep deprived. Let's make a commitment to change that. Katie, you actually asked how is the body affected, how are organs affected by the lack of sleep or by sleep? And so that's kind of the reason why I kicked it off with all of these notes that I took during REM and deep and REM sleep. Our brains essentially take a shower, as I said, clearing out the metabolic waste and toxins that build up during the day. This keeps our mind sharp, optimizes our cognitive function. We talked about memory consolidation. Now, in terms of physical repair, apparently deep sleep is when the body produces that growth hormone and tissue repair I was telling you about. Our cells regenerate, and inflammatory responses are kept in check. And so let me just show you some of the videos that I think, if I don't convince you, hopefully these videos do. And if they don't, well, I'm not sure what more can be done for you. So many. How do I start it off? Let's see. First, I'll start by cutting down. Is this interesting to you? Are you learning anything new? If this is new, just please tell me new. New. I love presenting new information. Okay, so let's go here. Let me. Okay. Do. And then I want to take a poll actually before I start this. Do you think naps are good for you or bad for you? What do you think? Are naps good for you or bad for you? Well, we're going to watch this clip while you put in your vote. And I'm going to share my screen. how your brain works while you sleep. Oh, I'm not sharing the screen. One moment. Oh, interesting setup we've got here. Is there a way I can change this? Yeah, there we go. Now you can see. Okay.
Ah, sleep. A chance to let our minds drift and our bodies relax. But even though you're unconscious, there's a ton going on in your brain. It cycles you through the 5 stages of sleep, processes your memories of the day, and so much more. This is Your Brain On, where we explore how the world affects our brains and ourselves. While you snooze, your brain's activity falls into one of 2 categories: 4 stages of non-REM sleep, and then a rapid eye movement phase. The first stage begins just as you drift off to sleep. Your brain begins to produce alpha and theta waves associated with peacefulness. These slow brain waves lull you into relaxation and reduce your eye movements for a very light sleep stage that lasts about 7 minutes. Next, in stage 2, the frequency of those brain waves increases rapidly and are known as sleep spindles. If you're looking to take a quick nap, this is the stage where you want to wake up after only about 10 to 20 minutes, as you're still in a light stage of sleep and won't feel
So what is the answer? What is the answer? How much sleep should you get? I'll back it up.
stage of sleep and won't feel groggy. Because after that point, your brain begins producing delta waves, super slow, high amplitude waves that have powerful effects. This is stage 3 and 4, the period of deep sleep, the most restorative, beneficial part of the cycle. Slow wave sleep seems to be especially key for cognitive memory processing, remembering basic items like places and faces. The last phase is rapid eye movement sleep, which completes the sleep cycle about every 90 minutes. This is the period when you dream. Your brain does a lot in REM sleep, especially for advanced learning and memory, recalling procedural information rather than just basic facts, as well as creativity and emotion. REM sleep consolidates information from the day and stores important items in long-term memory, while ditching the stuff that doesn't matter. This is why a bad night of sleep takes its toll. Without the restorative power of solid rest, you're likely to suffer cognition and attention problems, as well as bad moods. Chronic insomnia is even worse, linked to concerns like a higher risk of mood disorders. Adults need an average of 7 to 9 hours of sleep nightly, but many of us aren't getting it. So make sleep a priority. And as your head hits the pillow, rest easy, knowing that sleeping is one of the best things you can do for a healthy brain.
All right. So we've got our sleep news in for the day. And I'm going to go back to that question of are naps good with my favorite sleep scientist, Matthew Walker. Okay. Oops. Let me just share the right screen here.
Are we designed to nap during the day? Most people aim to get their recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep in one long stretch at night. And the technical term for this is monophasic sleep. In other words, a single bout of sleep at night. However, we may not have been programmed to sleep in this way. Now, I'm sure you've had that experience of a drop in your alertness in the afternoon where you start to feel a little sleepy. And you can also see it in other people as well, as their heads begin sort of bobbing up and down during afternoon meetings. Now, you may think this afternoon drop in your alertness is because of a big lunch. But in actual fact, it seems to be hardwired. Because if I place electrodes on your head, there is a reliable pre-programmed drop in your brain's alertness during the afternoon. And it happens to most of us somewhere between the 1 to 4 p.m. mark. What this suggests is that we may have been designed to sleep in a biphasic pattern, meaning one longer bout of sleep at night and then a short afternoon nap during the day. Very much like the siesta cultures around the world. But is napping always a good thing? Well, not necessarily. Although we and other scientists have discovered that naps can have benefits for both the brain and for the body, naps can be a double-edged sword. Long naps in the afternoon or in the early evening can just take the edge off your sleepiness. It's a little bit like snacking before your main meal. So if you are struggling with sleep at night, the best advice is not to nap during the day. Instead, build up all of that healthy sleepiness so that you give yourself the best chance of falling asleep easily and then staying asleep soundly across the night. But if you're not struggling with sleep and you can nap regularly during the day, then naps of around 20 minutes taken early in the day can be just fine.
Pop quiz. How much should we nap? For how long should we nap? There's two answers, actually. It's this many minutes or that many minutes. Do you remember? I really do feel like Dora the Explorer right now. And the get up doesn't help. Do you remember? Yeah. 20 minutes, no more than that, or 90 minutes so that you can go through that full cycle, right? So I kind of opt for the 90. I don't know why, but I guess if you're in a pinch, you can do 20, but sometimes I just, it doesn't work for me. But we're going to close. Like I said, unfortunately, I was having some trouble, but thank you because I'm glad that you showed up and hopefully you learned a little bit more about dreaming and bodily repair. I will come through for you if you just let me know what you want to talk about. I'm here for you for that. And then going forward, we'll talk about mindfulness based stress reduction, which is something that I am so passionate about. Probably sleep and mindfulness is something that I'm very passionate about because I believe that you understanding what happens to your brain is super important beyond the motivational speaking, beyond just hearing echo chambers of good positivity, which is great. But then how do we take action and what are the mechanisms of action? What's happening in our bodies? What do we need to focus on? And so prioritization, I would say, not prioritizing ourselves and our lives is what honestly leads to a lack of sleep. And then also not caring about the quality of the sleep that we get by just because we're not taking the small steps, which might even be just taking a cold shower before, not cold, maybe like topping off with cold water. That's what I do. It seems to really work. It drops my body temperature. Shankar prefers the heat. I prefer the cold. And so I just have to accommodate, but not ignoring yourself, being mindful of those things, I think is really important and what's really going to replenish you in a way that allows you to be able to sleep. So, I'm going to respect your time. I really hope that this was helpful for you. And we're going to go into just a very quick affirmation session. And just remember to prioritize your sleep. Okay. Oh, did I freeze? Am I frozen? I don't know. Okay, so close your eyes. Oh, unfroze. I unfroze. That's great. Thank you. I love this real time feedback because sometimes it just stinks not really knowing what's happening there. But okay, so close your eyes and repeat after me. I prioritize my health and well being. I understand the connection to sleep and my success. I believe I have the power to keep my schedule under control. Every day I am doing my best. I pay attention to my surroundings. Every day I strive to do better than the day before. I allow myself grace. I move into spaces of calm and tranquility when I need rest. Take yourself to the ocean now and hear the waves crashing behind me. Imagine yourself being rejuvenated, energized, refocused after a long night's rest and sleep with great quality, using the energy from the sun to wake you up. You go into the day prepared to take on any challenge that comes your way. Just breathe in, smell the ocean, breathe out. Walk a little further, feel the sand underneath your toes. Maybe even hug yourself, release some oxytocin. Be proud of yourself and this day as you go forward. Gently bring yourself back to now, to this present moment. All right. Well, if you're not getting enough rest, remember to be non judgmental, okay? That's really our goal with mindfulness. We're just observing our surroundings, being non judgmental, and then everything will work out as it should. I promise you. See you back here tomorrow. I believe it will be an audio event. And on Thursday, we actually have an essential oil specialist who is going to be on the mindfulness session. I think it's really important that we understand how to use our surroundings, even oils, to boost our mood, to boost our health, our immunity. And so I am really excited about that. It's a little bit tricky when I'm doing scheduling on certain platforms because they don't always appear in order, but I'll make sure that you get it. And his name is Jim Harrison. He's going to arrive on Thursday, 7 a.m. Central Time, but make sure you come every day and I'll try to have a special surprise for you. So if you've enjoyed this, please do say so in the comments and see you back here tomorrow. Have a very lovely, mindful day. Thank you for joining.